The Philadelphia Eagles are staring down a defensive disaster, and if Howie Roseman doesn't act in the next 24 hours, the 2026 season could be over before it even begins. We're talking about a massive, gaping hole in the secondary that experts have officially labeled the team's biggest vulnerability. But just when things looked bleak, a 9-year veteran and Pro Bowler was suddenly cut loose, and the NFL's most powerful insiders are linking him to Philly for one shocking reason. Is this the move that saves the birds, or is Howie playing with fire? Before we dive in, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. How do we get here? How does a roster this talented end up with a weakness so obvious that every analyst from New York to Los Angeles is pointing at it? The reality is harsh. The Eagles' defensive backfield is currently a construction zone with no foreman. ESPN's top evaluators have been categorical. The safety position is the single biggest threat to this team's championship aspirations in 2026. For years, the Eagles have relied on finding diamonds in the rough, but you can't always count on lightning striking twice. The departure of Reed Blankenship has left a void that feels less like a roster spot and more like a missing limb. Blankenship wasn't just a player. He was the heartbeat of the defense, an undrafted underdog who rose to become a Super Bowl champion. When he signed that massive 3-year, $74.75 million deal with the Houston Texans, he took more than just his talents to the AFC. He took the Eagles' stability with him. Now, the front office is looking at a depth chart that is, frankly, terrifying for a contender. You have Marcus Epps, who's a solid contributor, but is coming off a season where he only managed to stay on the field for 4 games. Then you have projects like Michael Carter-Seth and Jonathan Jones. Talented guys, sure, but they're cornerbacks by trade. Asking a corner to suddenly become a high-level safety in a Vic Fangio scheme is like asking a sprinter to run a marathon. The muscles and the mindset are just different. And don't even get me started on the rest of the room. We're looking at special teams, aces who haven't taken a defensive snap in a year. The potential is there, but in the NFL, potential is just a fancy word for hasn't done it yet. This is exactly why the recent news out of Indianapolis has the entire city of Philadelphia on high alert. A player with 111 starts and a history of elite production is suddenly standing on a street corner with his bags packed, and he has a direct line to Nick Sirianni's cell phone. But wait until you hear the specific word the insiders are using to describe this player, because it changes everything we thought we knew about his career. The NFL world was rocked when the Indianapolis Colts officially moved on from Kenny Moore after nearly a decade of service. This is a guy who has earned over $57 million, made a Pro Bowl, and has been the gold standard for nickel cornerbacks for years. But when the news broke, Adam Schefter, the man who knows what players are thinking before they even think it, didn't call him a cornerback. He called him a safety. Let that sink in. A player who has spent 99% of his career locking down the slot is suddenly being marketed as a safety. This wasn't a typo. In a world of high-stakes NFL reporting, every word is calculated. This shift in terminology is a massive open loop. It suggests that Moore and his representatives have looked at the league, looked at his age, and decided that his future lies in the deep middle of the field. Now, why does this matter for the Eagles? Because the connection between Moore and Nick Sirianni isn't just a coincidence. It's a brotherhood. Sirianni was the offensive coordinator in Indy from 2018 to 2020. He watched Moore practice every single day. He knows how Moore processes information, how he tackles, and how he leads. Common challenge. Who is to blame for the Eagles' current safety crisis? Is it Howie Roseman for letting talent walk, or the coaching staff for not developing the young guys? Drop a name below. The logic here is almost too perfect. We've seen this movie before in Philly. Remember C.J. Gardner-Johnson? He was a cornerback who moved to safety and became the league leader in interceptions for the Eagles. Howie Roseman loves these value plays, taking a veteran with elite instincts and putting them in a position where their brain can make up for any lost step in their legs. Kenny Moore is 30 years old. He's 5 feet 9 inches and 190 pounds. On paper, he's small, but his resume is a masterclass in defensive production. 649 tackles, 21 interceptions, and 5 defensive touchdowns. You don't get those numbers by accident. You get them by being the smartest guy on the field. In a Vic Fangio defense, the safety needs to be a chess player. They need to disguise coverages and bait quarterbacks into mistakes. Moore's been doing that his entire adult life. But there is a dark side to this potential signing. If Moore is so good, why did the Colts let him go? Why did he lose his starting job to a younger player last year? Let's be real for a second. This move is a massive gamble. The Indianapolis to Philadelphia pipeline has been hit or miss. We saw it with Shaq Leonard. Everyone thought Sirianni bringing in his guy would be the missing piece, but Leonard's body just couldn't hold up. Is Kenny Moore another Shaq Leonard, or is he the next great Eagles reclamation project? The stats don't lie. Moore played only 58 snaps at free safety in 9 years. That is a microscopic sample size. We're talking about a player who has spent his life playing man and match coverage in the slot, now being asked to be the last line of defense. If he misses a tackle at safety, it's a touchdown. If he misreads a deep post, the game is over. There's also the age wall. At 30, most defensive backs are starting to see their vertical speed evaporate. In 2025, Moore struggled to keep up with the burners in the AFC South. If he can't run with the elite receivers of the NFC East, does it even matter how many interceptions he has in his trophy case? However, the Howie Roseman factor cannot be ignored. Howie doesn't pay for past performance. He pays for future value. If Moore is willing to sign a veteran minimum deal or a low-cost, one-year prove-it contract, the risk becomes almost zero. If it fails, you cut him and lose nothing. If it works, you just found a Pro Bowl-caliber starter for pennies on the dollar. It's the ultimate low-risk, high-reward masterclass move. The Eagles' secondary is currently a house of cards. They have Andrew Makuba, who looks like a future star, but he can't do it alone. He needs a veteran presence next to him who won't panic when the lights are brightest. Moore has played in 132 games. He's seen every formation, every trick play, and every superstar quarterback the league has to offer. But wait until you hear what the experts are saying about Moore's specific fit in the Vic Fangio system, because it might be the reason this deal is already being discussed behind closed doors. Vic Fangio's defense is notoriously difficult for young players to master. It requires safeties to show one look before the snap and completely change at the moment the ball is hiked. It demands football IQ above all else. This is where Moore's experience becomes a superpower. Think about the path he took. He wasn't a first-round pick with a silver spoon. He came out of Valdosta State, a Division II school. He was an undrafted free agent who had to claw his way onto a roster. That dog mentality is exactly what Philadelphia fans demand. He is the mirror image of Reed Blankenship in that regard. Both guys were told they weren't big enough or fast enough, and both guys ended up being the smartest players on their respective teams. If the Eagles bring Moore in, they aren't just getting a player. They're getting a coach on the field. They're getting someone who can mentor Mukuba and the other young corners. It's about more than just the 2026 season. It's about stabilizing a culture that felt a little bit shaky after the defensive collapses of the recent past. But there's one more detail that people are overlooking. Moore didn't just get released, he wanted out. He and the Colts agreed to look for a trade before the release happened. He is a player with a massive chip on his shoulder, and an angry Kenny Moore is a dangerous man for opposing quarterbacks. So, here is the million-dollar question. If you are Howie Roseman, do you pick up the phone right now? Do you trust the Sirianni connection and bet on the veteran's brain? Or do you stay the course with the young and proven talent currently on the roster? The Eagles are in a championship window, and those windows don't stay open forever. Every day they wait is a day another team, maybe even a rival like the Cowboys or Giants, could swoop in and snatch a veteran leader off the market. What's your take, Philly fans? Is Kenny Moore the missing link for a Super Bowl run, or is he just another aging veteran looking for one last paycheck? Should we trust the safety label Adam Schefter put on him, or is that just an agent's trick? The 2026 season is going to be defined by how this safety hole is filled. If it's Moore, we could be looking at a defensive resurgence. If it's nobody, well, it might be a long year at Lincoln Financial Field. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you think Howie needs to make a move, And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the breaking news when this deal finally goes down. I'll be back with more Eagles updates the second they hit the wire. Fly, Eagles, fly.